California,
and the Constitution of the State of California,
and that I take this obligation freely
and that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations
without any mental reservation
or purposes of evasion,
or purposes of evasion,
and that I well, and faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
So congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks for making those short sentences.
Well, that's why I do it. And I always want to say real well.
I know.
Welcome to the board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Again.
Yeah. Thank you. Lovely. Because I get hung up in my food anger.
Alrighty then. Welcoming our new board members. The roll call. Director Hanson.
Present.
Director Valentine.
Here.
Director Parker.
Here.
Director Allred. Here. I know there's something I gotta say next.
Approval of agenda. So moved.
Oh,
Second. Go faster than you.
I know. Well, I've got to get in the thick of things here again. Community announcements. Do we have any community announcements?
No, we got it. We have it.
Oh, we have. Oh, the approval of the agenda. Right.
Public comments on that too, man. Okay. Okay.
Do I have a first or a motion?
You have a motion?
Three.
Yeah, I did call for the vote.
Oh,
All in favor?
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All those opposed? Votes unanimous. Approval of the agenda. Any community announcements? Public comments? We have none. None on the screen. Zoom.
Lynn has
Aye.
something. Lynn has.
Oh, Lynn's got something. Okay.
I just want to say that we had an amazing toy giveaway, Christmas tree giveaway event on Saturday. Lots of happy kids. National Test Pilot School flew in Santa and the Grinch. The kids loved it. And we gave away 49 decorated Christmas trees.
Wow.
I don't have a total count of how many attended or specifically the children were involved yet. Hopefully on our next meeting, I'll have that count. That's it.
Fantastic. And thank you, staff and everyone that participated. That was
Sounded like
impressive.
awesome.
Lynn
That was-
and Alma and the
Yeah,
whole crew did a magnificent job.
It's-
It was really a nice event. And that building was jam-packed with people and kids. Oh, it was so cute to see all those little ones running around with lots of smiles and people saying Merry Christmas. And they were so excited with their toys. And it was a wonderful time. And they all had a donut or cookie in their hand or a candy cane. Lots of sugar. Oh boy.
Awesome. Thank you, Lynn.
I don't feel that's the board. Would this be how we do?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Ed Thompson. Green light.
Okay, thanks. My name's Ed Thompson. I've been on the airport here now for about 6 years, building prototype airplanes with Toyota. We built 3 vertical takeoff planes over there in hangar 965 next to the Steinmetz on the flight line. And recently, Toyota's decided that they want to build smaller planes. The last one we built was 7-foot wingspan. They're unmanned, of course. And so they didn't want to continue leasing a hangar because they didn't think they needed a hangar for these little planes. And we had talked about me taking over the hangar. But I guess there's some confusion as to whether the board wants. So in between some of these airplane builds, I started working on other airplanes. doing composite work, mostly on long easies and cozies, making mods and doing some repairs. And that's a lot of the work I do now. And apparently there's some confusion as to whether the board wants this type of activity going on in those hangars. And so I was wondering if the board at some point could discuss this and decide whether they want this type of activity in those hangars, and if I could continue to lease that hangar.
I think that's on the agenda, right?
It is, and I apologize, I didn't realize. Your comment's fine, but it is on the agenda for closed session for the board to discuss. And so before closed session, the public has the right to comment on that item on closed session. So Mr. Thompson's comments are entirely appropriate, but they do relate to a closed session item for today.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So now is a great time for you to let the board know what your request is, and then they go into closed session.
And I think he did that. Wants to stay there.
You want to continue
Yeah,
to build?
to build prototype airplanes and repair and modify composite airplanes.
Are you a pilot?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I do have an ultralight,
Okay.
a Skypup that I'd like to fly on the weekends if I could.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm working towards my pilot's license.
I don't have any questions.
No. I think we have all the information we need.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Uh-huh. All right, consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve items A through D in one motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second.
I just asked if anyone from the public wants anything.
Anybody from the public like to add anything
Or remove.
or remove anything? Remove. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those disapprove?
I'm gonna abstain.
Abstain? Okay,
I haven't
We have
had
one
time to look at
abstention.
anything on this agenda, so
All right, so it's three.
motion carries
It's 3 and 1 abstention.
3 and 1.
Other abstentions.
Motion passes.
Mm-hmm.
Item 4, action items. A, impulse space, site 1.
Yes, to begin our first staff memorandum regarding impulse space, test site 1 at First Amendment. So on February 21st, 2023, the Board of Directors approved a 5-year lease with 5 one-year options. On September 11th, 23, the board approved the First Amendment to increase their footprint by 20 square feet on the road with connecting their test areas. Immediately after the approval, Impulse opted not to execute the amendment, as they were informed they needed to make additional change to their lease boundary to comply with county regulations. Impulse is now requesting the First Amendment to increase their footprint by a total of 0.559 acres to close out their outstanding county permits. There's some fiscal impacts there. No environmental concerns. Equal review will be done prior to us finalizing the lease, and there's no legal concerns. Staff does recommend approval of the First Amendment and authorization for the CEO to execute the amendment, subject to council's approval.
You did.
And I've reviewed the amendment.
Okay,
and I'm fine
I
with
mean,
it.
is this going to be adequate to take care of what we're doing with?
Yeah, we haven't had any changes happen. Yeah,
Okay.
I reviewed it and it's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm sure. I don't want to be back next meeting with the same.
We have a motion to approve item A.
Sure, I'll motion to approve the impulse space test site 1, First Amendment.
Second.
And second by Kathy. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just ask for public comment.
Oh, that's right. Public comment. No public comment. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
those disapprove? None, it's unanimous. Motion passes for item A. Item B, accepting donations. Sawyer Skycraft.
Right, so background on this again, Mrs. Carmack offered to donate the Sawyer Skyjacker 11 to Mojave Air and Spaceport for a possible display plane. Skyjacker was designed and built, tested and flown by Ralph Sawyer of Lancaster, California in '74 here at Mojave Air and Spaceport. The Skyjacker is a one-of-a-kind experimental aircraft with a Lycoming IO 360A1 B6D engine. The aircraft was designed to explore ultra-low aspect ratio, wing design, stability control, and capability of the configuration. First flight, July 3, 1975, and was on the cover of Popular Science's April 1978 issue. Only two people to fly the Skyjacker were Ralph Sawyer and his business partner, Mike Carmack, both previous tenants here at Mashpee. The Skyjacker now sits in the general aviation area. We are reviewing the fiscal impacts. It's CEQA exempt, so should be minimal environmental concerns. And at this point, no legal concerns. So staff recommends approval to pursue the prospect of accepting the donation of the Sawyer Skyjacker with council's approval.
I got questions.
Sure.
It's sitting down there on the tie down area down there by the team.
It is.
Have they been paying rent? Is the rent paid up?
I don't know.
No. So they owe back rent? Or
until recently, we stopped in the middle that
okay. Okay. Are there any, I don't know, conditions on accepting this aircraft? Do we have to maintain it if it's vandalized or anything? Is it going to ever be returned back to the Carmack? Is it a donation to the, is it free and clear with no strings?
It's free and clear with no strings.
Okay.
Donation to the airport. My desire would be to put it on display. We can discuss the appropriate location for that.
Okay.
I don't know if Gate Guardians is the right place, but its size is small. Maybe it can go somewhere near Legacy Park. These are things we can discuss
Okay.
as a
Okay.
staff.
So that was a
Come back to you
concern
with.
out there and its vulnerability to night traffic.
Mhm.
You're missing some plugs, a prop, a wheel, who knows? Yeah, I wouldn't be a favor of putting it out in the yard, but okay. Okay, so
Did you see it fly, Jimmy?
no, I don't think I did. I would be afraid to watch.
I
I was trying to
did.
figure out the
I
way.
saw it fly, and it was terrifying.
Okay,
It
well,
looked like it was on the ragged edge of a stall the whole time. And he gets back and he says, "Fly is great." And I thought, okay, good.
Was there
yeah.
ever any kind of tie down agreement with them or anything?
I
The
don't
plane
think
just got
so.
brought here and left there.
I don't
I
think,
think
so.
so. We've got, go ahead.
in there still known that didn't know it was and it was actually on one of the lists to see if it was going to be processed as an available piece of property.
So it'd probably be cheaper for us to just take the donation and we try to lien sale it and get title on it and dispose of it or anything else. Okay.
Yep.
That makes sense then.
Yeah, either way, it is history, and it is.
It's part of Mojave Air and Spaceport's history, without a doubt.
I'll go
Without
with
a
the
doubt.
Is there any
recommendation.
public comment? All those in favor of accepting this donation?
Aye.
Aye.
All those that disapprove?
I'm sorry, can we back just a second? Was there a motion and a second to accept it? So
Yeah.
that was done. I'll make a motion to accept it. Okay,
I'll second.
sorry about that.
That's all right.
We'll get our chairman up to speed here. And so now you can take it. So unanimous vote. Yeah.
Unanimous vote. Item C, taxiway A, engineering and scope of work, phase 1.
Good afternoon, directors. What we have in this action item is the design and engineering scope for our 2025 ACIP project, which will be a proposed rehabilitation to taxiway Alpha. I'm sorry, excuse me. The scope has been prepared by Mead and Hunt, which is our designated engineering firm for FAA projects, and then staff have also completed the independent FIA estimate. It's $287,078 budgeted dollars, and it will include preparation of NEPA and CEQA documents. And I believe we do have a meeting hunt on the phone for any questions. I apologize. I knocked a tooth loose this morning, so I'm not speaking very well.
I read all that. Could you talk pictures for a minute and kind of point like, here's what we're doing and this is where we're doing it, just to, so I can see it. And,
Sure.
and I realize there's not a lot of room there, but.
So the proposal is for a mill and overlay from the whole position line at 1-2 all the way to the whole position 1-2-3-0, with the exception of the intersection of Alpine Charlie, which is a complete failure and structural failure. So the proposal would be then to reconstruct this intersection and a mill and overlay of the entire.
Okay, that helps a lot. I was trying to get that in my head and it was close. Thank you, Dave.
Nice
And
to have a
we have
grant.
budgeted dollars for that engineering.
Correct.
And are we going to go after a grant to do
So
it?
this would
We
be
haven't.
for the 2025 ACIP
Yeah.
grant.
Okay.
And potentially we would receive 90% reimbursement from FAA,
EIP.
Airport Capital Improvement Program.
Okay, versus AIP.
Airport Improvement.
It's
So once
different.
we get the FAA grant, then we can apply to get the funds back, at least 90%, up to 90%.
Yeah, we've spent a lot of that already, having an engineer, that's the in the pocket.
No, what we're proposing would be.
Okay, right, but that's the where we try to get ahead of, yeah.
Yeah, it's always
We're almost
we're ahead of
ahead
the
of it.
game because
Yeah.
once they pull the trigger with the FAA, we got to be ready.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me see, yeah.
That's great.
Okay, so I would, if you're looking for a motion.
Motion.
I'll make a motion
Or
to
Jimmy can. Yeah.
approve the, what do you want to call it?
Motion to improve the engineering
Yeah.
phase
Scope
one.
of work phase one.
Yes.
Second.
Second for Kathy. Any public comment? Public comment? All those in favor?
All right.
Anybody opposed? Votes unanimous. Okay, reports. Number 5A, Director of Administration.
Good afternoon. These are the financials for October 31st of 2024. Bank balance did decrease in October, $1.2 million. We did make the payment, the final payment on the water line, and then also a payment for the taxiway alpha lights. So we're anticipating getting 500,000 of that back from FAA. Once we get a little closer, we're supposed to be closing it out here soon. So I'll put in for that draw on the FAA grant once we get the closing documents. Operating revenue, we're at 34%, and operating expenses, we're at 31%. So we're on track. We should be at 33% by the end of October. So we're right in line with where we should be. Fuel sales, 88,000 gallons. AR, High Desert Wireless, still just continue to make small payments. So we'll get there. And then Dragon Aviation, they have not made a payment, but they are in the process of trying to sell some of their assets to pay off their debt and move out of their hand.
Are they in regular contact with you?
Yeah.
I have spoken with them and maintained regular contact. My last reach out to them was to tell them we really needed to see something in good faith. For the new board members that may not have known, they did provide me a letter from a prospective buyer saying they were interested in buying the Draken. It didn't talk money, but his intent was to pay off his indebtedness with those proceeds. Follow-on communication from me to him was to indicate we're at a point now, we're not seeing movement there. We need some sign of good faith before we press forward with pay or quit actions against this anger.
How far does this go back?
He's about 6 months at this point.
Do you know the new buyers?
I do not know them. We have a letter, a copy of a letter.
Could we make contact with them and see what their intent is? Go
Okay.
go around him
Mhm.
and then bring that back?
And then the update on the fitness center, we're at 693 members.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I know, I'm starting to see a lot of black in there.
Yes. We are starting to be on the other side. Yes, we're making.
It's fantastic asset.
Yeah.
I use it all the time. It really is a good asset
Yeah,
to the community, to the airport, to the tenants. I mean, it is a strong asset to this airport, I believe.
Yes. Yep. And we are investing in some of the, because we have been having revenue these last 9 months, we are reinvesting that money as well as some budgeted dollars into a new piece of equipment. Just because we have not purchased any equipment for there since we've opened the fitness center. So since now we kind of got on the other side and we're starting to not pay every month that
It's being
we're
used.
reinvesting
It's
it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
The staff is good. The equipment's good. It's clean in there all the time. I mean, as a person who uses it, pays for it, I'm ecstatic to have it here in town.
Oh, that's good to hear.
It's true. Yeah.
Supports our image.
Supports me losing my belly.
Just don't go there.
Director of Operations.
Good afternoon, members of the board. Quick adjustment to my very first line here. I had stated aeronautical testing was winding down for the rest of 2024, and that was last week before the weather hit. So now this week, aeronautical testing is winding down for the rest of 2024, and we are anticipating that test activity to resume mid-January 2025 once we get through this week. As always, read the NOTAMs. I feel like I should have that. That should be my new Mojave hoodies. Just read the NOTAMs. So we are excited. We've had some really good test campaigns this year. Eternally grateful to be able to have supported them through their transitions as they develop and grow here at Mojave. For the operations counts, I did provide the numbers in some tables here. I didn't want to get too much in the weeds during my report, or I would talk numbers until all of you were telling me that's enough, no more numbers. But I did want to highlight just really quickly the increase in military operations. So as I've mentioned in previous board meetings, I have been trying to provide an area for our military to come train through SOPs and through training through our tower operations, such as simulated flameouts, those high key, low key operations, so our fighter pilots can come in and have a safe space to be able to train here at Mojave. And as well as making sure I keep Harold and Fuels busy by encouraging an area for them to be able to come in and hot fuel and perform those activities here as well. So we have seen about 600, increase of 600 military operations over the August to July 2022 to 2024 time periods. This table is submitted to the FAA. We submit this as part of our runway safety action plan to get a grasp on how the airport is developing, how it's growing, and that is factored in with our other runway safety items that we are working on developing to improve safety here at Mojave. As far as our November counts for 2024, we had 1,260 operations, and that was down from 2023, where we had 1,342 operations. And part of that was largely due to winds. We went back and looked at when those operations happened, and it appears that winds did play a high factor, as well as some reduction in civilian after hours activities. Are there any questions on any of these?
Just curious, do we get complaints from the people in town about I think they're wonderful. I love it when the military planes fly by, but not everybody is as excited about it as I am.
When the F-35s used 2.6 specifically, we did have a couple in there. But I've not received complaints. I think, Carrie, you're the only one, the other one that gets the complaints when they come in. I don't think I've gotten any in almost a year. Good. So,
when people say something to me, I tell them, honey, That's the sound of
Air
freedom.
launch was occupying the 3-0.
Correct.
So,
Yeah. We try to be courteous to our community and encourage the use of 3-0.
Of course.
But when we have testing, it does put them on 2-6.
Of course. Yeah. It's just really cool.
yeah, but my chickens don't lay eggs.
I know the chickens don't like it.
Sorry, Jimmy.
So I spend considerable time in the community, and I'm not hearing anything.
Yeah, I'm not either.
Good.
And I know one of them is up the street from me, so you might have heard from him today.
Was it the helicopter one? There's one that really gets fussy about the helicopters, and I'm like, oh, sorry, it's an airport. I did want to also, while talking about military, I had hoped to put it in this one, but we haven't had our dates finalized. Just a reminder, we do have the Air Force coming back for their exercise. It's looking, so they promised me that it would be smaller than the one we had in August. So now it's about double the size and longer. So it's close, but we are looking middle of January through middle of February for that similar Air Force operation.
That's wonderful.
And we are also looking to partner with some of our allies, and they may be bringing in aircraft as well. So for our plane spotters, we may have some more interesting aircraft during that time period to come train and get fuel and shop at our wonderful establishments here in Mojave.
I like it.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, CEO.
So, quick update on the hangars, and it'll be not as quick as I might have alluded to, because with a couple of new board members, I want to let you know where we stand. So, we've got 3 developers that have expressed interest, who are in active negotiations and pursuing leases and design to build opportunities. The first is for a general aviation hangar farm near Bravo Bravo. Initial run of roughly 40 hangars to be expanded to about 90 hangars if they have success in their first increment. Right. So right in this area here, I'm probably standing blocking your vision.
Interesting.
And that is moving forward. Nothing is inked yet, but the developers have been working very closely with Lynn, have multiple interfaces, and have all the appropriate exhibits regarding the property.
The 40 hangars, are these box hangars, T hangars?
Box hangars.
Box hangars, okay.
The second,
Because we have a lot of...
actually first, by order of precedence, and that is the property up in here, with the intent that particular organization is looking at more executive style hangars, which would probably be better suited for business jets. And their market case is they believe that people will relocate their aircraft from the LA Basin to Mojave.
Santa Monica.
There are many of those aircraft out there. I was recently down at Van Nuys doing a walk around. Surprising how many aircraft are not hangared, and these are multi-million-dollar assets.
Yeah.
So again, we're in negotiation there, moving on that. So hopefully we'll see something moving forward.
I want to throw something out there just as a thought. In my years of being here, I've always thought that if we were to ever pursue or develop or want to pursue executive type hangars, that the location might more appropriately be in the Bravo area. That's just me.
Where's the Bravo area?
That's where the
taxiway
first
Bravo. Where our, where Virgin is there, and it's actually been extended now about halfway to the event center. It's just in my mind over the years, that's what I've thought of. You got these high performing, and some of them pretty large. You have Boeing business jets and stuff. Well, obviously that's not going to fit in that hangar.
Right.
So there will be probably a Gulfstream would fit down.
So both of these opportunities, this is where the proposed lessor would like to be. They have surveyed the area, looked at it.
Interesting.
So this is where they have offered to come. Anyhow, both are still in negotiation. attempting to figure out how we get to yes and move forward.
Good.
So that's a quick update on hangars. Right now, we are not aggressively pursuing building any single hangars owned by Mojave Air and Spaceport. Working closely with Floyd and his team, we could probably site 2. I don't know that the investment that we would have to lay out to truly get 2 box-style hangars built is worth the level of effort that would go into it. Is the juice worth the squeeze here is what we look at. Yes, I want to grow the hangar footprint, but 2 is just not a lot.
It's not, and we have potential opportunities to do it on someone else's dime.
Right.
Take that money and invest it in areas, grant matches and maintenance. It would probably benefit the airport a little better.
Yes.
I mean, I agree. We need. I just call them P hangars to reference general aviation.
Right, and
some of
no
that
disagreement.
could possibly go into some of the upgrades on our existing ones. I know we're spending money there to try and get them all up to speed, doors, lighting, power. Yeah, so plenty of places to spend money.
Plenty of places. Any more questions on the hangars?
Nope.
All right. So some highlights. I spent a considerable amount of our time, staff time, in integrating with the various, what I would call economic engines in the local area. So B3K, Air and Space Force Association, AV Edge, Kern Economic Development Council, Tehachapi Economic Development Council. We maintain a strong interface with those amongst other organizations as an active participant, to include aerospace collaboration, touching and working regularly with the major other aerospace firms in the aerospace valley, Lockheed, Northrop, Boeing, and the United States Air Force, if you were to consider them, obviously not a firm.
U.S. Navy.
In addition to interfacing like that, absolutely, U.S. Navy as well. And an awful lot of Navy iron has been coming through here getting fuel of late.
I love it.
So it is wonderful to see. Recently, as in today, staff had a critical incident stress training class where we had an opportunity, especially understanding some of the recent losses that we've experienced, to have our staff just be provided tools and techniques. Especially understand we're going into the holidays. We all know some people draw joy and value out of the holidays. For some people, it's a fearsome season that creates great discomfort. So we've had an opportunity to provide some tools and techniques to our staff so that they can better deal with the season and deal in long term with anything that may be an adversity in their lives. I believe that was a valuable commitment of time. The last meeting with the FAA and the ADO a week ago was face to face, and I like that. So Mead and Hunt and myself drove down to El Segundo, had the meeting with the FAA, and go figure the next meeting with the FAA, they're going to come on up here.
Oh, good.
So they're going to walk this terrain as well. I think that's very important. In that meeting, they were remarkably receptive to some of the grants that we're proposing in the future. And one of the things they brought forward that was very clear is great compliments to the staff, and I can take none of this credit. This is the staff that precedes me, for what they have done in managing grants that trickle down to us like a GA airport, get expensed as a major industrial property. So they were very complimentary to the staff that's done here.
I know our staff.
Here to our staff.
They
Absolutely.
Simply, I will say they rock it. Current mixer last week was very valuable, working with the school districts, talking about increasing STEM opportunities out here and maintaining those very critical relationships with the community. We participated, staff, in a major media day. This was a really big deal. So we had, the media event was part of the Reagan press forum. It started at Strato Lounge with Mojave and Spaceport being the opening speakers. They went from here to Edwards and then down to Plant 42, had dinner with AD Edge, and then off to Reagan for their evening festivities. This included New York Times, Wall Street Journal, ABC out of Bakersfield, and multiple professional journals and reporters from across defense and aerospace industry. So extremely impactful. It'd be interesting to see what we get out of the press on that as it pans out. So major commitment of time, but absolutely valuable returns. Staff also attended for the first time ICAS, not in particular looking at an air show, but maybe investigating opportunities of how we can better interface with that very diverse part of the industry that's remarkably innovative, remarkably creative, and doing unique things all the time. Some of these organizations very small, but very receptive to sharing ideas and opportunities. And I must admit, on more than one occasion, a whole bunch of people down there were saying, you need to bring the air races back to Mojave.
Oh, yeah, well.
Believe me, we haven't inked any deal.
No.
Other little things like the Test Wing Commander's reception. I have to brag again on, the work done with the CHP for Kids event. Denise and I were there till about 3:00, and it just, I think she said it well when she pointed to the kids and she said, "This is Christmas.
Yeah.
This is that."
Right.
And just a totally wonderful event. Very impressed with Santa. I was a little concerned that Santa worked without a break with all those children. Did a fabulous job. Some things planning and thinking of. I'd like staff to engage early in next year in a strategic summit. Take a day away with the senior leadership in Mojave and Spaceport and come up with an action plan for the next few out years to bring back to the board for the board's review, edit, and approval as they seek them. I think it's appropriate we do that as an offsite. I don't want to make this inconvenient or expensive, but I find, at least for myself, if I try to do an offsite focused discussion in my office, it lasts about 3 minutes. And then something else pops up. So there'll be more to follow on that. Additionally, on our visit to Tahoe Trucking, they use SAF fuels up there for their jet fuel. So synthetic jet fuel, 30-70 mix. Good for the environment, a little more expensive. They have basically a shared deal, costing deal with their tenants. So they reduce their profit margin a little, the tenants pay a little more. I'm not obligating or committed to doing anything like that, but I think we need to get the information to fully understand the SAF fuels applications. We may find out that we have to do it. There's considerable talk about carbon reduction that may be mandated by federal agencies. So planning to go up to the Tahoe Truckee hosted summit on SAF fuels. It's a one-day trip. It's a one-day summit up there with GA aircraft operations largely. So
when you say this, you mean avgas and jet?
The avgas right now is not using a synthetic blend. The jet fuel is.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't know anything about GA fuels.
Yeah, the jet fuel is. And interestingly, I was involved in the Air Force's Fisher-Tropsch jet fuel conversion when we did that on B-52s. We did it on the Buff because we can isolate tanks, motors, and if something went south, we can simply start feeding from a different tank and restart the motor and continue safely. Give us good alternatives. It's the way of the future and it's environmentally good. We need the information so we can make effective decisions. Right now, we don't have the information. And then another thing I'd really like us to continue to look at and be very creative as we look at this. I really believe we need an urgent care up here in this community. I think it would benefit our market base here at Mojave Air and Spaceport tremendously. It would also benefit the small community of Mojave tremendously, who right now has really zero access to acute medical care. So I've had some preliminary discussions with Southwest Healthcare on that. And there's some prospects we may be able to come up with something very creative to provide at least part-time urgent care services here. I think it'd be good for the airport, good for the community at the end of the day. And I'm not talking about doing this in our dime. I'm talking about doing this as a creative business opportunity moving forward. And those are the highlights I present to the board at this time, subject to your questions.
I have one for Carrie. Along the line of the healthcare, banking. Have you gotten any response from?
I haven't gotten any response if they're still looking at coming back. I don't know if the chamber has got any forward movement, but I figured after the first of the year, I would check back with the bank manager at Alta One just to see what their thoughts are. But
where are we banking now?
Alta One.
Alta One.
Just change.
Alta.
Yeah. No more questions?
Interesting.
Okay, no board committees? I don't think we have any. At this time,
You see board comments?
Yes, I have.
The first page.
I have.
It's on the very bottom.
Board.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I see
Board
it.
comments.
I just happened to be looking at our website. We need to do some cleanup, maybe some fresh material on it. I mean, we still have Tim as the director. Oh,
So the website is completely under redesign right now.
okay.
It's in that design phase. The expectation initially was mid-January, and hopefully we're tracking to that. I am okay. I hear you. It would be better if we could make the easy administrative changes and get those all up to date and corrected. But if we could just do the wholesale change at once, it cures everything.
The video was, my words, been outdated.
So we just shot a new video to include with the support of MTPS.
Okay.
Same people who delivered Santa. But just shot a tower flyby with them for incorporation in the new video. So that new video is under construction right now. And that worked out very well because J.D. Brown, that many of you may know, was on a spinny flight. So NTPS just said, hey, in association with the spinny flight, we'll generate the tower flyby for you.
Was he in a MiG?
No, in the T-38.
Oh, okay.
MiG would have been cool.
The 21.
Does it still fly?
The 21 does.
That was in the video, wasn't it? It was, yeah.
Well, I think Ms. Hanson's referring to the NTPS 29.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I saw several things. I didn't want to pick it apart. Just that staff does a great job. That really caught my attention. I went, wait a minute, that should have been changed. But our video is just, some of it isn't relevant anymore. Some of it is not even there anymore. But you guys get it.
Yep. And Jason and Nicole do have like a demo part of the new website that'll be launched if you wanted to check in with them.
As far as what, with the site?
Like, yeah, how the website is starting to transform and some of the things that are being updated on it.
I'm pretty happy with it. I know in years past it was a little cumbersome, but it flows pretty well for me.
So one of the things I like about the new website is that when you first click in to Mojave Air and Spaceport, it opens with an action video.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a still screen. When you go to the web link, it's that flyby. So the jet's coming right across your screen.
I have one huge request for it. Make it mobile friendly.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
we turn on the fan so you can feel the wind. It's kind of.
Yeah, I have a comment. I wanted to tell everybody about Plain Crazy Saturday.
Yeah.
It's coming up on the 21st. And December, we used to always have Dick Rattan come and talk about the flight of Voyager. And they took off on December 14th, 1986, 38 years ago. So since Dick is no longer with us, I invited Kelly Hall, who wrote the book with him, The Next 5 Minutes. And she's going to go through the flight a day at a time as to where they were and what was happening. And I told there was some gal, it was years ago, and she says, well, what is Voyager? And I said, well, the aircraft that flew around the world. She says, how many times? I said, well, once, it's enough. It's 26,000 miles without stopping or refueling. Oh, anyway, it was kind of interesting. And then one of the kids recently, they don't understand the whole idea of getting in this cramped cockpit for 9 days. And they weren't on the best of terms anyway. So that was an interesting situation in itself. So they had some experiences. And Dick always, of course, said it was his velvet arm. I said, honey, you were prayed around the world by your mother. So, but it was a miracle that they made it back. But they took off from Edwards, and I love that statement when he called the tower. And he said, to get permission to take off from Edwards Air Force Base to Edwards Air Force Base. And I was there for the takeoff and there for the landing. And he kept circling around, and I thought, Dick just landed, but he wanted to make sure he made the 9 days. So it was 9 days, I think 3 minutes and 44 seconds or something like that. But when they landed, they sat on the airplane for a long time because they couldn't walk. I mean, your muscles don't work very well when you haven't used them for 9 days. So it's a great story, and it's a great book. And I'm hoping that Kelly's going to bring some books. I'm hoping people will buy them. So if you can, come to Plain Crazy Saturday on the 21st, right here in the boardroom at 11. It's a great story, and it's Mojave Air and Spaceport. It was built right here in Hangar 77. Took 5 years. But anyway, thanks.
Well, in the history of aviation, today is the anniversary of the Wright Flyer.
Exactly. And Spaceship One flew on the 100th anniversary, first powered flight of Spaceship One. Brian Benny was flying it on the December 17th, today. When the 100th anniversary of the Wright Flyer. Pretty exciting to combine all that aviation history. But so much has happened right here. It's really an exciting place to be.
Any more comments? Well, we'll go to closed session.
Would the board like me to stay for the closed session?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
But for the new board members, I will always ask that question.
The recording has stopped.
Always stay, but you don't want me.